Actually, it is an understatement to say Nollywood is getting there. In fact, it is an insult if you dare say that. The fact is, Nollywood is there. This movie titled Brotherhood is an attestation to that statement. Now, before we begin, we must first inform you that this recap is not meant to replace the movie itself, nor should it stop you from watching the full movie in its entirety on Prime Video. This recap is meant for those who have watched the movie and would love to relive the moment once again, but in a brief and concise timing. Also, be informed that this recap contains heavy spoilers, so brace yourself up for it. Finally, subscribe now before we begin, so you won't have to pause later to subscribe or even forgetting to subscribe altogether. We notice that our viewers are increasing in number and we appreciate that a lot. But please, can you just take 2 seconds to subscribe and turn on the notification icon? So if you have done that, let us begin. Hi, this is Sam. Welcome to the Film Village. The movie begins one night on a New Year's Eve of the year 2000. We see a couple driving home. Then they see a lady stranded by the roadside in the night trying to fix her car all alone. As good people, the husband asks if they could help her out and then, boom, it turns out they were armed robbers. They rob them of their belongings and kill the couple. Meanwhile, at the back of the seat were their twin son, Akin and Wale, who witnessed everything. Now, many years later, we see Akin in a prison cell. A warder summons him, and along with some guys, they marched outside. Some prisoners were hailing Akin, calling him by his nickname, Kalashnikov. Then they were given their clothes and then released from prison. Outside the prison, the guys greeted each other, saying they should feel free to contact one another should any of them need help in the future. Auntie Morenike was waiting for Akin to take him home. She was excited to see him. They hugged each other and Akin hopped on the vehicle while they left the prison. Auntie Morenike also told Kalashnikov that his brother also just got promoted and today is also his first day at his new work. Now his twin brother Wale goes to meet his squad master, who then introduced him to the SWAT team. He told Wale to strap up quickly because they are already heading out on an important mission. Kala and his auntie arrives at their area. Immediately, Kala, or let's just call him Akin. Akin saw one of his friends. He welcomed him back from prison. Akin saw a bike and asked his friend who owns the bike. The guy says, that's his bike. Akin immediately jumps on it to take it for a ride. The auntie started calling him to be careful out there because there are police out by the junction. Akin did not even listen to her. He drives off with his friend. The SWAT team arrives at their location. So inside is a drug shop where they use little boys in packaging hard drugs. The police bust their way in and the next thing is shootings here and there. Within minutes, the whole lab was cleared. The police noticed the children were scared where they hid, so Wale dropped his gun so the boys can trust him. Then he rescued them. Suddenly, 2 of the drug dealers jumped out from where they were hiding. As they were about to shoot Officer Daniel, the SWAT team leader, Wale swung into action. You remember, since his gun is not with him, he took another SWAT member's gun, Simon, and then goes for the Will Smith jump, followed by the Will Smith / Michael Bay hero shot. He killed them both. The boss thanked him and they moved out. Akin and Auntie Morenike arrives home. One of their neighbors saw Akin and excitedly they started greeting each other. Now, before they enter, the neighbor asked Auntie Morenike why she hasn't left the community yet, that she should not take the Ojuju boys' matter very lightly. When they enter the room, Akin asks her who are the Ojuju boys. She tells him they have been terrorizing everywhere and they have served their street a letter that they will be coming. She gives the letter to Akin. Akin reads the letter which says, "We dey write una to inform you say on the 15th of May, we the Ojuju boys will come and pay you a visit. Make sure you prepare for us and arrange all our entitlements. Remember say we know they play ojujuboys.com. Akin just mocks them, saying they must be crazy. Then he goes to the fridge, picks up an energy drink, and as he was about to drink it, Auntie Morenike makes a suggestion to Akin, begging him to consider the suggestion seriously. She says, perhaps it's better they both move to live with Wale, his twin brother, until everything clears down. Akin says he is not going anywhere. Then there was a knock at the door. Auntie asked him to open the door for Wale, his twin brother. Akin opens the door. Seeing each other, you could feel the enmity between them. Akin calls him Olokpa, meaning police, and Wale calls him Odaran, meaning criminal. That is how they always call each other when they meet. Auntie Morenike then tells Wale that Akin does not want to come with them to his place. Wale says, leave him alone, I beg, at least he is not a kid. Auntie Morenike says, instead of the fight, they should be their brother's keepers. Akin says Wale does not know how to keep anything except secrets. Akin says that Wale is keeping him a secret, that no one out there even knows that he has a twin brother. Now outside, as Auntie is about to enter Wale's car, she gave Akin some money and tells Akin that there is garri under the bed in case he needs to eat. Wale then says to Akin, that's all you know, to collect money every time. Then Akin replies him that as a police, does he not also collect his bribe at the express road? So who disturbed them? That night, while in the room alone, the Juju boys arrives. While threatening him, one of them recognizes his face. He calls him Kalashnikov. He asks them to let him go. Then they both greeted, hailed each other and started to give each other's updates. He collects Kala's number that they will meet up later. Now, the SWAT team is having a briefing about a series of carjacking happening recently without any lead. Wale raises his hand to ask a question. Then he asks if they are aware of a certain group called the Juju Boys and why are they not doing anything about it. The other officers laughed when they answered Officer Wale that the Juju Boys are a matter for the local police. Now they as an elite squad have bigger fish to fry. And then the briefing ends. As other officers leave, Ife says she knows the DPO of the area and can link Wale up with him. Maybe he can help Wale out with the case. Wale thanks her. Akin also goes to meet Cobra, one of the Juju Boys. Now as they were greeting, one of the guys, Kende, started spraying money. Another guy asked him to stop, telling him to stop showing off, that it is better to lay low. Cobra then asked two guys to take him out of there. Cobra then introduced Akin to the rest of the team. Cobra tells the team of how smart Kala is and how such a hustler he is, telling them of how he provides for them back then at Oshodi under bridge, telling them what to steal, how to steal, and so on. He also tells the team that Akin is a twin. Akin asks Cobra to have a quick chat outside. Outside, Akin tells Cobra he would like to be a member of the team and he has a suggestion on how to level up. He tells him that he has a friend back at Kirikiri prison that drives bullion van before being in prison. He says he can provide intelligence, and with Cobra's team, they can rob the bullion van and do away with 20 to 100 million naira. Cobra likes the idea, but tells Akin that they have a structure to their crew. They first have to inform the CEO of the team by the name Shadow, who is perfectly played by Bright Okpocha, known as Basket Mount. He promises to link them up, so Akin can explain the matter by himself. Now at the boss' birthday, Wale sees a beautiful lady walk out of the kitchen. He got lost in her eyes immediately. They collided and Wale kept on looking. He met the lady again. They both chat for a while. Wale offered to help her wash plates. Thank God he says wash plates. Then she replies with, "Officer, you want to wash plates?" See, thank God these people keep using the word wash plates. He replies that he is good at washing plates. He washes the plates, she rinses them, they both crack some joke and then introduces themselves. Later, Wale meets up with the DPO about the Juju Boys. The DPO claims they can't do anything because if anyone should speak, they will kill the person and the entire family. Wale promises to help out, that whatever it takes to get them, he will provide, and if there is any information, no matter how small, the DPO should please let him know. Later, Cobra brings Akin in. Akin salutes Shadow. Shadow asks him to sit. "What is your name?" he asks. "My name is Akin." Cobra jumps in. "Guy, stop." Then he told Shadow his name is Kalashnikov or Kala. Then Akin explained about the bullion van robbery and how they can get it done. Heavy presence, military style, no police will dare stand in their way. Shadow asked him to say more. Akin begins telling him about his guy, Adura, who once drove bullion van. Another guy, Kamo, that knows Lagos like the back of his hands. Now remember, these two were the guys they both left the prison together. Then he says they need tool, that is weapons. Shadow says he will provide that. Akin says, "Sorry, not to disrespect you, sir, but the kind of tool I mean are military grade, and he already has a guy for that. An ex-military expert that can provide tools that even the sight of it alone will scare off any police officer." Then we jump to 3 months later, One night, we see some police convoy escorting a bullion van. One of the policemen was complaining about his wife and Ashwebi. The other policeman noticed something up ahead. He asked his mate to drive fast. Meanwhile, one of the Juju boys was hiding at the front of the garbage truck. Suddenly, he steps into the road in slow motion, holding an RPG. When I was young, we called this Shakabula. The police begins to scream and then he sent the police vehicle flying. This scene is so intense. The two garbage men brought out their guns. Before we know it, the police convoy has been encircled. They burst open the van, asked the policemen to lay on the floor. In 60 seconds, they emptied the bullion van. One of the police knocked out a phone, they caught him, and then begin to tie all of them up. Then, a bag containing money falls on the floor. One of the police officers wanted to grab it and Cobra shoot him. Immediately, they cleared everywhere and the Juju boys was gone. They meet up at their rendezvous and they immediately start to transfer their loot into another vehicle, changing the vehicle's plate number and everything. Then Shadow asks of Kehinde and Poison, to which he was told that both of them did not show up for the mission. Akin arrives at the rendezvous in anger. He starts to quarrel with Cobra for shooting at the police and messing up his plans. Shadow separates them that they will handle the matter later. Swiftly, they all moved and everywhere clear. The following morning, we see Wale and Cass in the room. That morning, Cass was acting weird towards Wale. Wale could not figure out what was wrong until Cass lifted his hand and placed it on her stomach. Yes, Cass is pregnant. Wale is excited about it. He picks up a thread, wraps it around Cass' ring's finger. He then proposed to her. Wale's phone rings. He was asked to come to the crime scene immediately. Now, as Wale arrives at the crime scene, with investigators and reporters already making their findings, Wale approached Simon for updates. Simon says, this robbery is big boy stuff and cannot be carried out by the small boys he is after. Now, Wale suggests that what if they were connected? Wale's phone rings. The DPO asks him to come over, that he has something to show him. Later, Wale meets the DPO. Remember that Kehinde did not attend the mission. Well, it was because he was arrested at a bar fight the other night and someone identified him as one of the Juju boys. Now, Wale begins to interrogate him. Now, he was being nice. Let's not say even interrogate. He promised to help him get out of the cell if he can tell him where to get the other members of the Juju boys or tell him who they are. Kehinde says he is not a snitch and there is nothing for Officer Wale. In disappointment, Wale leaves the room. Goldie meets with Akin. While Akin was reading about the robbery on Instagram and obviously still pained by the shooting of the police officer, Goldie calms him down that all will be well, that Shadow's MO has always been the same. Akin says things has to change because the amount of money they steal will draw the police attention. Goldie asks him to trust Shadow because she trusts Shadow with her own life, after Shadow has rescued her from being raped many years ago and introduced her into the Juju boys. Akin says he trusts no one because no one is an angel. Then she says, okay, Akin should trust her instead. Wale meets with his auntie Morenike. While waiting for her to come, he noticed that the room is different. There have been new things inside the room. He asks if Akin is the one that bought all these new things he is seeing. And why did she collect them, knowing well that Akin has no good job? Auntie Morenike says, Akin has a good job now. She says anytime he leaves in the morning, he returns with good things. Wale asks what job Akin does, and Auntie Morenike cannot answer because she doesn't know. Akin gives her a wedding invitation and states it clearly that the wedding invitation is for her only, that she should not bring anyone else to the wedding. Auntie Morenike says, what about his brother? She reminded him that his brother Akin actually got into prison at an early stage because of Wale. She says Akin went to steal a malaria drug just so that Wale could get better, and it is not fair for Wale to treat his brother like that ever since. Wale explicitly tells Auntie Morenike that she should not bring Akin to his wedding, and that's final. Wale leaves. Akin enters the room, seeing the invitation card left by Wale. He chuckles. On the wedding day, Akin arrives in exotic cars with his crews. Cobra, Poison, Adura, Goldie and all. He even wore a bright red agbada to stand out among everyone at the party. Akin taunts Wale so bad, He even hugged him tightly, spraying money enough plenty money at his bride. Now, Wale looks at Auntie Morenike. Auntie Morenike couldn't even care less. Goldie gives Akin's name to the singer and they begin singing praise to Akin, calling him his name. The party just almost turned from a wedding to Akin's party. All this while, Officer Daniel was carefully observing Akin and his crew. Getting to the prison to meet Kehinde, Kehinde tells Wale that he has to help him since his guys have already left him there and they've abandoned him to rot in prison. Now, pay attention here. Kehinde says, "I see you with my people having fun." Wale paused and asked again, "You see me with who?" Kehinde says, "I saw your viral wedding video now on social media. My guys were there spraying money." Surprised, Wale becomes speechless. At the mechanic shop, the guys gathered and then Shadow gives Akin a phone with the viral wedding video, saying he is disappointed at Kala. Cobra then brings up a new mission that one of his ex-girlfriend has given to him. He claims to have received an information about 100 million naira coming in 2 different places, making it 200 million naira. He said they have to actualize the plan and get the 200 million naira on the same day. Immediately, Akin jumps in saying it is too risky. Running 2 missions in one day is dangerous. And Shadow says they should take it to a vote. The majority voted and the mission was accepted, except Kala. Shadow asks him if he is in or out. Kala says he is not in. He won't go with them. Then he leaves. Goldie rushes to meet him to discuss with him. Outside, Kala says he can't go along with the mission because he does not want to die or return to prison. As Akin and Goldie rides off on his bike, Wale arrives at the mechanic workshop. Immediately Cobra saw him. He recognized his face. Wale says he is there to thank them for showing up at his wedding. He asks of Akin. Cobra says, Akin just left. Wale then says, "Is this Shadow's shop?" You could see all their ears stand up. Cobra asks Wale how he got to know of Shadow. Cobra tells Wale to please leave. If he wants to speak with Akin, he should call him on the phone. Later, Goldie meets with Cobra to ask him of how they plan to execute the mission, 2 robbery in one day. She says he can't do it alone. Then Goldie calls Akin in, asks them to both figure their stuff out and find a way to make it work. After a while, they settled and they begin to talk. Akin tells Cobra that he is too greedy and that has been his problem from childhood. He even narrated a past incident saying while they were younger, they steal Auntie Morenike's rice and stew little by little. But when it gets to Cobra's turn, he stole the whole pot and the cooking stove. That's how greedy Cobra is. They both laugh it off and then they settle their quarrel. Akin says okay, he has a plan on how it will work out, but then makes it clear to Cobra that it must be by the book. Cobra agrees. Akin repeated it again. They must do exactly as he says if they want the plan to succeed. Cobra says no problem. Wale sits alone in the office, looking at the picture of his wife and of his twin brother of when they were little. He is torn between 2 things. Should he report to the boss that his brother is an ex-convict and is one of the armed robbers they are looking for, or should he stay silent? Adura and the crew arrive at the bank for robbery. Adura parks a small bus at the entrance, awaiting the bullion van with money to arrive. As the security tries to clear him off, telling him to move his vehicle away from front of the bank, he started giving excuses. Sorry, it is my car. I just fixed the carburetor. While Poison pays attention on the van behind them, waiting for the moment the police will unlock the door. And as soon as they did, he shoots at the security. Others brought out their gun. Poison kills the policeman, and then the robbery officially begins. Officer Daniel receives a code red transmission alert on his radio that a robbery is going on not too far from where he currently is. After packing the 100 million naira from the bullion van, Akin immediately informed everyone to leave. But Cobra insisted that they take the little money left in the ATM machine. Then they place a bomb on the ATM machine and blows it off. Now one of the security picks up a police gun. As they were driving off, he shoots at them and hitting one of the robbers. The robbers were driving fast. They come out of an intersection and Officer Daniel sights them. He begins to pursue them. The police and the robbers meet in one of the streets. Then serious interchange of bullets begins. Shadow begins to pour fuel on the yellow bus they used to rob. Officer Daniel tries to shoot Shadow to stop him from setting the car ablaze, and then Akin shoots Officer Daniel, hitting him in the stomach. Shadow finally burns the boss. As they meet at the rendezvous, Akin begins punching Cobra for being too greedy. After they've gotten 100 million naira, he's still going back to rob an ATM machine, and he complains that because of Cobra's greed, he had to kill his own in-law. Shadow says people die and they should forget about it. They should move on to the next mission. Immediately, Akin says he is no longer interested and he should be given his share of the money so he can leave. Shadow says nobody will be given any money until both missions are complete. Akin then points a gun at Shadow. Then there is a standoff between the two groups. Goldie tries to calm them down, saying they are all brothers. Akin says none of them are his brothers. But listening to Goldie, they all lower their gun except Poison and Cobra. Shadow commands Poison and Cobra to also lower their weapon. Then they did. Angrily, Akin walks out on them. Now at this point, we would like to remind you to please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Wale and his team members were at the hospital waiting on doctor's reports concerning their boss that was shot earlier. The doctor returns confirming that Officer Daniel has died. Kamsi cries deeply and the whole team goes into a deep sorrow. While Officer Monsurat was talking, an officer brings a clip of one of the robbers shooting at the robbery. Wale saw it and immediately heads to the mechanic workshop to meet Akin. To his surprise, the whole place has been cleared. No one is there. He quickly rushed home to meet his auntie. He asked her of Akin's whereabouts, saying although the robbers all wore masks, he is sure Akin is one of them. Auntie Morenike asked him not to assume such terrible thing about his brother, begging him in the name of their late parents to please trust his brother Akin. That night, Akin and Adura speaks about the incident at the rendezvous earlier. He asks Akin to please come back inside so they can finish the mission. Akin later agrees. Then he goes in and started telling them about the next mission. He says since the police are now familiar with their mode of operation, they have to change it, and he has a plan. Shadow asks him to wait, that before he tells him of his plan, he showed them a phone number that they should all memorize. He says it is the number of a smuggler that will help them after the mission. He warned them that after the mission, any one of them that survive should meet with the smuggler and they will help him out. And after they are out of the country, he tells them that no one should call either their father, their mother, their girlfriend. They should all go silent for the next 2 weeks. Now it is time to go for the final mission. They took a speedboat heading towards Third Mainland Bridge. On the bridge, Poison and some of the other guys posed as construction workers performing a repair work on the bridge, thereby causing a serious traffic. Akin and the guys, using a hook, climbed their way onto the bridge right beside the bullion van that they were about to hit, and they start shooting at the policemen in the van. The other guys, already on standby, also brings out their gun. Immediately, everywhere scatter. At the SWAT office, Wale is typing a report when they were called urgently about the robbery going on at the Third Mainland Bridge. They immediately suit up. Akin and the Ojuju boys begins their mission. They start cutting into the van. One of the police inside the van starts calling for backup. They cut the door open, then they drag him out. The SWAT team coming from Yaba area were speeding towards the bridge. Inside their vehicle, they all sit calmly and they were repeating the phrase, "For Officer Daniel, for Officer Daniel," one after the other. Now, on the bridge, the money bags from the bullion van were being transferred by a rope from the top of the bridge down to the speedboat under, waiting for them on the river below. The SWAT team arrived and they start shooting. Take cover, number one, number two. Some commuters were even streaming the whole event live on social media, recording Poison as he's shooting. More AK-47 and all. This scene is very, very intense, I tell you. Sanusi was shot as Adura tries to drive away. Now, back home, Auntie Morenike is met by that neighbor who then informs her about the ongoing robbery at Third Mainland Bridge. She now plays the video for her. Now, in the video, Auntie Morenike saw Poison and recognized him as one of the guys that came with Akin to Wale's wedding. Seeing that, she quickly leaves. Back at the bridge, the shooting was still going on, intensifying. Shadow shoots at them, hitting Officer Efe. Shadow gives Cobra his gun to reload the magazine. Greedy Cobra then shoots Shadow twice, leaving him to die. Akin takes cover behind the pickup and he begins to shoot also. Wale takes off his helmet, then calls his brother Akin by name. Akin, asking him to stand down because he is already surrounded. Greedy Cobra climbs down the bridge, killing their getaway driver and leaving Akin and Goldie all alone by themselves. Wale keep asking Akin to please stand down. With nowhere to go, Akin stand down. Akin picks up a bike. Goldie sits facing backward to provide cover shots. While driving off, Goldie starts shooting at them. She was shot too, and Akin's bike crashed. Auntie Morenike arrives at the scene while the police try stopping her from going any further. Now, Goldie dies. Akin picks up a gun. Wale quickly jumps in front of him, begging him to please drop his weapon. Auntie Morenike is back there crying to get through. As Akin lifts his hand to clean his sweat, one of the police, thinking he wants to shoot at Wale, then shoots Akin. Akin falls backward, rolls to the edge of the bridge. Auntie Morenike screams. Wale also shouts, asking the officers to hold their fire, hold their fire. Another member of the team, probably at this point thinking of Officer Daniel, their boss that was killed, shoots Akin, who then painfully fall off the bridge in one of the most cinematic scenes I have ever seen in Nollywood movie history. Even after falling into the river, the police kept on shooting at Akin, who already is deep down in the river. Wale begins to beg them, asking them to please stop, screaming, "That is my brother! That is my brother!" They pulled Wale away and the police all line up beside the bridge, all together shooting downwards towards Akin. Later, in the news, the newscaster gives report of the incident, saying for a while there I almost say Scar. I guess Shantytown is still in my head. Well, in the news, the reporter says that Shadow has been arrested and is in custody, which means Shadow did not die. Akin, who fell into the river, is also yet to be found. His body is yet to be recovered, and another gang member was seen fleeing the venue. Greedy Cobra arrives at the smuggler's place that is supposed to take them out of Nigeria. He gives him the balance of the money that they were supposed to pay him. The man collects the money and said he is coming. That night, divers were busy searching for Akin's body in the river, but they couldn't find him. Agents also arrived from internal affairs to question Officer Wale. Greedy Cobra, still waiting for Baba to return, now heard a sound at the door. It is raining outside. He gently opens the door to see who it is. There is no one there. So he turns back. As he was about to move inside, he saw Akin standing. And in an heroic move, Akin says in Yoruba, "Kò ní dáa fáwọn tó ní ẹ." He then shoots Cobra with the bullet sending him out of the house. Like, this scene, honestly, you really need to watch this movie from beginning to end by yourself. After shooting Cobra, Akin then dropped on his knees. Now, about 2 years later, we see Kamsi and Wale with their son playing outside. Wale is looking at something on his phone. His wife, Kamsi, sits with him and then says, well, now that the case is closed, she hopes they will finally lift his suspension and it can resume. His phone rings from an unknown caller. Wale picks it and the next thing he hears is, "Ọlọ́pàá." Immediately, knowing that is his twin brother, he replies the same way he always do, calling him Ọ̀daràn Òṣì, meaning criminal. Wale then smiles a little. Then we see Adura and Akin in a car all the way in Togo. Then the movie ends with Fireboy and Asake Bandana. They never see me coming. Ja, 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 ja. Oh, Camelo. One is coming. Actually, Akin Gbewani is coming seriously, as in the guy is really, really smart in the movie. Really. See, we must tell you, it's been a while we got such a satisfaction from Nollywood. You know, after having Shantytown recently, in the span of about a week, we also get Brotherhood. I mean, what is next to come? Sincerely, Nollywood is not just getting better. Nollywood is now what it should have been all along. We hope you enjoyed this recap. Please subscribe to this channel so you don't miss our next recap. And also, stay tuned for our complete review and analysis of this movie. Until next time, I am Sam, and this is the Film Village.